Hi, everybody. This is Michael Reeves, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams in the Autumn Wind Strat-o-matic Football League. And today we are getting ready to start our playoff season. Autumn Wind is a 30-team league, and 12 teams qualified for the playoffs, 6 in each conference. And today we are going to see a wild card matchup, one of 4 coming up this week with the Houston Texans, Ethan, up against the St. Louis Cardinals, which is coached by Dale. So this should be a very exciting matchup with 2 very good quarterbacks, Justin Herbert for the Houston Texans going up against Jalen Hurts for the St. Louis Cardinals. So getting settled in here. There's an off-tackle run for Mixon. He picks up some yards there. It's now 3rd and 7. I'm going to drop off here for just a moment and go pick up my iPad. I'll be right back. And we just came back in time to run into a touchdown here that apparently I missed. A 72-yard pass to A.J. Green, who just announced his retirement of the real-life NFL. So on 3rd and 7, Houston strikes first, and we're just a minute and a half into this game. Both of these clubs do have some very high-powered offenses. Houston elects to go for 2, and they convert. So just like that, the Texans are up 8-0 over St. Louis. Let me open up a card here real quick. There we go. So I just got home from work here just a little bit ago, so I'm a little discombobulated. Let me open up the Autumn Wind page here, and we'll look and see what we can see about these 2 clubs. So Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders is your 1-2 combination. Sanders picks up 9. He had a fantastic card. I have him in a couple of leagues this year. Quite a dynamic weapon to have in that backfield. They're running pro set. There's a run up the middle. It's guessed wrong, and that was Jalen Hurts with a line buck. He picks up 3. And I'll move the chains. They're now at the 37. So the Houston Texans and the St. Louis Cardinals happen to be in the same division. Texans finished 11-5, so too did the Cardinals, but I'm sure there was a tiebreaker that separated the 2. And the Texans scored 460 points this year. So they got a fantastic offense. They do tend to let up a lot of points at 371, but they had a nice average margin of victory that was among the best in the league. Pickup of 7 on the play, 2nd down and 3. And there was a name you don't hear very much. That's Tony Jones, who I believe might be one of those running back fullback combo cards. Or he might be a running back 4, so he could play fullback. That's possible. We'll take a look at that. And there's another run that does pick up. It's a small game, but it picks up the 1st down. That was Miles Sanders. He gets 3. St. Louis is closing in here on midfield, already trailing 8-0. Fireworks early. 72-yard touchdown pass from Justin Herbert to A.J. Green. 72-yard touchdown pass. They converted the 2-point attempt, and they are up 8-0. There's an off-tackle run. Guessed wrong. Only picks up 1. 2nd down and 9. St. Louis is a little bit stronger defensively than they are offensively. They scored a mediocre amount of points this year, about 349, averaged 20 points a game. Allowed just under 20 there at 314. That's among the better points allowed totals in Autumn Wind this year. 2nd down, there's a quick screen that's not going to pick up much, only a pickup of yard on the play, and now it is 3rd and 8. Fumble chance there. So let's see how St. Louis will handle. We've seen a lot of pro set today. In fact, I think that's all we've seen on this drive. So now 3rd and 8. Let's see what kind of formation. I didn't have the chance to play either one of these two clubs this season. So they're going to go 3 wide. Let's see how Houston is going to answer. Looking to see where the pass rushers are for Houston. There it is, Robert Quinn. If I remember correctly, I believe he led the league in sacks here in Autumn Wind. He had about at least over 20. I thought I saw 24, which would be an amazing number. Screen right. Defense guesses pass. There is one man there in the zone, and it's a 4. It's hauled in, but he stopped a yard short. So it's 4th down and 1. Is this 4-down territory? That was Jeff Wilson with the catch that I believe was his first reception. It was. He picks up 7. So Dale has a decision here at the 44, already trailing 8-0. And he keeps the offense on the field. He'll go for it here on 4th down. So that's Jones, Hurts, and Miles Sanders in the backfield. Houston comes out in their base 3-4. Tyler Lockett on one side and Freddie Swain is on the other. An elite wideout and a mediocre one. And they stop him. So on 4th down and 1, Jalen Hurts is stopped for no gain, and Houston will take over. And Houston is going 4 wide. Wow. Off tackle run. White die 1, so it's automatically guessed right. No gain on the play. He's back in that 4 wide set. Houston doesn't exactly have a great offensive run blockers to begin with. But he does have a 5 back there. There's another deep shot that is incomplete to Valdez Scandling, who had a terrific year for the Texans, and it's now 3rd and 10. So St. Louis is 1 down away from no harm, no foul after unsuccessfully going for it on 4th and 1 at the Houston 44. Since then, Houston has not been able to move the ball, and so now it's a 3rd and 10. 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Houston up 8-0. Sideline pass right. There's a man there to 0. Defense double teams. So that pass is incomplete. And St. Louis is going to hold serve. They were looking for Kyle Pitts there. So 4th and 10. Houston's going to boot this one away, and St. Louis will get their second possession, barring calamity. Oh, wow, what a kick. Ball rests right there at the 2. So St. Louis will take over deep in their own territory. We're just at the midway point here of the first quarter. Houston 8 and the Cardinals nothing. Dale will take over at his own 2. There's a pass over the middle, and it's caught for 10 yards, and so that'll give him plenty of breathing room there. That was a white die 6, 0 men in the zone. And Hurts is 3 for 3. That was Jennings' first catch. So 3 wide set here for St. Louis. Miles Sanders up the middle, pickup of 9. 2nd down and 1. Two tight end set, and that's Jeff Wilson now in the backfield. Hurts is in the pistol. So Dale has to be super happy with the progression that Jalen Hurts has made in the real life NFL, as he's led his club to a Super Bowl appearance. It's this weekend. Philadelphia and Kansas City. Hurts and Mahomes. So a great pickup for Dale that certainly has paid dividends. Here is a run, but it's guessed right. Well, actually, it might not have been. No, it was guessed right because that's in a white die 1. So Hurts loses 3 on the play. It's now 2nd down and 13. Linebacker in the zone, able to make the play. Only needed to be a 4, so that flat pass. Oh, I'm sorry, it is complete. It's actually a pickup of 7, so they make up half the yards there. That pass was completed to Juwan Jennings again. So 3rd down and 6 with the ball at the 27. .430 on a running clock here in the first quarter. St. Louis trails 8-0 to the Houston Texans. Both these clubs finished 11-5. Off tackle draw and a big pickup up the middle. And move those chains. Miles Sanders. It wasn't on his card. It was on the D card. So a nice pickup of 20 there. And another first down. There's an end run guessed wrong. Jalen Hurts picks up 15. And for the second time this quarter, St. Louis has made their way into Houston territory. Now the ball's at the 37. Gain of 7 on the play. That was Jalen Hurts again. No, excuse me, that was a pass. Sorry. I'm flipping back and forth here between my iPad and taking a look at the game. So that was Freddie Swain, cast-off receiver with the Seattle Seahawks. Screen pass right. Defense guesses run. That's going to be a nice gainer there for Jeff Wilson. And another first down for St. Louis. Ball's at the 19. So Houston, with their prolific offense this year, pretty amazing with an 11-5 record, considering they have both a poor run defense and poor pass defense. And what I mean by that, it's the defensive cards that this league earns. Basically, we utilize the numbers of our players on defense. There's point totals basically for the defensive lines and linebackers, and then the secondary and linebackers, and that's how we determine the strength of the draft league defensive cards. And so, to muster an 11-5 record, you have to be a pretty good coach, and you have to score an awful lot of points to make up for poor defenses on both ends. And there's a pass that falls incomplete. That's another flat pass for Jalen Hurts. And this is where you get into a little bit of trouble with a club like this. Hurts is not exactly a good downfield passer, short or long. Sanders there, I wonder if maybe he would consider a draw. I would think that Nathan will probably bring somebody up there to the middle. He has a nose tackle 4, so that's something definitely you could pick on. The center's a 0 already, and now with this 3 wide, it's still going to be a 0. You run into that white die 1, and he's not going to pick up much of anything. They're already in field goal range. Don't know how risky they're going to be here. Don't exactly have a great set of wide receivers outside of Lockett. And there's a quick pass defense correctly double teamed Mercedes Lewis. And so Houston's going to hold here, possibly hold them to 3 if they can nail this 37-yarder. So from 37, let's see if Elliott can put it through. Oh, and he doesn't. He shanks it to the left. And so Houston will continue the shutout here with 35 seconds to go in the first quarter. So another great drive for St. Louis. Well, the first one ended at the 44 of the Houston Texans. They weren't able to convert on a 4th down, and now they drive the length of the field all the way with a drive that started at the 2. But it ends with a whimper. There's a pickup of 3 on the play. That was Joe Mixon on the run. Here's an off-tackle run. He dials up the dreaded 5, so he doesn't pick up anything there. 5s on running cards, guessed right or wrong, are, well, they're not good. How's that? Dreaded 5, as my friend Tom Cook would call it. And he's the one who termed it's called a double counting league. So the strength of your defensive cards will determine. Oh, and there's a sack. And so a nice 3 and out there for St. Louis. So the Cards are going to get this one back. Another punt that's not returned. They'll take over with better field position than they had the last time. The last one was at the 2. This one's at the 23. A lot of leagues use basically average defensive cards, just generic average. Somifa, for example, uses average defensive cards. The 24 teams all have the same defensive card, but here in leagues like Autumn Wind, they have a point formula to determine the strength of your cards. Here's a pickup of 4 on the play. That was Jeff Wilson, who's in there now, going to preserve a little bit of carries for Miles Sanders. We've made our way into the second quarter. St. Louis is trailing 8-0. There's Hurts, a completed pass. White die 6, short gain, 0 men in zone, 1st down. Lee Smith. Wow, this is the no-name brigade of receivers. But the strength of this team obviously is built on the run. And Jeff Wilson does have a nice card. That's a great backup to have. He picks up 6 on that play. And for the third time in 3 possessions, St. Louis is closing in on crossing the Mason-Dixon line, i.e. the 50-yard line. Defense calls run here. Oh, interception split. And the pass is incomplete. 2 through 3 and 12. Guessed right. Still would have fallen to the turf, but that 11 is quite a split there. That could have been a mess. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 3. So now they're back to their standard pro set. That's Tony Jones, along with Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. Houston's in their 3-4. Defense guesses pass, and they guess correctly, as on Jalen's card, a 5 is a blank and a 10 is a blank. That seems to be the mark of the average to mediocre flat pass cards. Mahomes has a card that's identical to that, where a 5 and a 10, I believe, are blanks. And I think Josh Allen also might have a 5 and a 10 blank. So 4th and 3. Is Dale thinking about going for it here? It looks like he is. He's going to go for it here on his own 48. Unsuccessful conversion attempt the last time. Houston's in their 3-4, so they get the advantage to flood a couple of flats. Maybe we'll see an off-tackle run here for Tony Jones, perhaps, just to throw him off. Defense guesses run. It's a pass. And it's another blank. That's a bad break. It's an incomplete pass, guessed wrong, to Tyler Lockett, of all things, who is an elite wide receiver, and the only blank you're going to find on his card. Dale happened to find it. If it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. He's now turned the ball over twice, and neither of them had anything to do with a fumble or an interception. So he has 2 unsuccessful conversions on 4th, and he has a missed field goal here. So let's see if his luck is going to change. Nice stop on that first play. That was Joe Mixon, who hasn't found any running room whatsoever. 5 carries for 7 yards. It's 2nd down and 11. And there's a nice gainer for Joe Mixon, who finally finds some breathing room, picks up 17. And the Texans are in business now as they find themselves with a 1st and 10 at the St. Louis 32. And there's a run. It stopped for only a yard. Mixon, again, is a workhorse. It'll take a long time before he gets any significant fatigue. So these two clubs play in the NFC. And I believe they snared the 2 and 3 wildcard numbers. Oh, wow. So that's a loss of 1 for Mixon, and now it's 3rd down and 12. So that's right. So these are the 4 and 5 seeds. There's another game, wildcard, coming up here in the NFC, and that's the Steamer traveling to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, who were the defending Autumn Wind champions from last year. Dave Szymanski is the head coach. So we'll be broadcasting that one soon. So this is kind of a big play here. 3rd and 12 from the 34. You're kind of in no man's land. Do they maybe consider an off-tackle draw just to get some yards to line up for a field goal? Or do you trust Justin Herbert to get this conversion? Valdez-Scantling out there with A.J. Green, who has a 72-yard touchdown pass, and Tim Patrick is the 3rd wideout, and Kyle Pitts at tight end, who's an elite prospect. but really came on hard times. He's going to have probably a credit card next year, I would think, for Atlanta because they had such a lousy passing attack. There's a deep pass, and this one is headed for Valdez-Scantling. He catches it, and a touchdown. So guessed right. Defense double-teamed a couple of players, but one of them was not named Valdez-Scantling, and so Houston goes up 14-0 and is looking to make it 16. They went for 2 and successfully got it on their first. On a pass from Justin Herbert to A.J. Green, who also caught the touchdown pass. Here we go again. He's looking for Green, and they're going to stop him this time. So that's good news for St. Louis, as they can keep it to 2 normal scores here, 14-0. They just need to be patient. Houston tends to allow a lot of points. So he'd be looking for that opportunity here to get that score before the half. St. Louis also will have the kickoff. So let's see if they can put together a sustained drive and cut into this lead. They've been able to move the ball successfully on 3 drives. But again, each one had been cut short. 2 unsuccessful 4th down conversions and a missed field goal from around 37 yards. There's a pickup of 6 for Miles Sanders. 6 carries so far for 48 yards. 7 minutes on a running clock. St. Louis trailing 14-0. The winner of this game is going to take on the winner of the other NFC Wildcard game featuring Philadelphia and Shreveport. There's a pass out of the backfield. It's 4 yards to Tony Jones, and that is good enough for another first down. So the ball resting here at the 35 for St. Louis. Hurts under center. Tony Jones, Sanders. There's a run for 6 yards. That was Jalen Hurts. He's got 5 more end runs. Second down and 4. Inside run, defense guesses pass. Oh, and it only manages 2. And that was Jeff Wilson in there. That's sad. You know, you have to preserve some carries for Sanders. I think that's a short gain on his card there on a 6. So he danced all around some good stuff there. He just happened to dial up the wrong roll. Gosh, everything would have been very good there. Every one of those would have been a first down. Nearly every one of them would have been. So now it's 3rd down and 2. And we've seen this show, and there is a run key, and it is successful. 2 linebackers in the zone, and they will drop Sanders for a 2-yard loss. St. Louis isn't going to go for 4th down 3 times now, especially with the ball at their own 41, and they will go ahead and kick this one away. So Houston's going to get the ball back for one more possession, likely, here in this quarter. So this is a big drive for St. Louis. Got to do everything they can to hold this one to 14 before they get into the half, or maybe force a turnover. We've seen 2 turnovers so far, but they've been the unconventional turnovers. St. Louis unsuccessful on converting 2 4th downs. Here's an off-tackle run. Defense guesses pass. That'll be a nice pickup for Mixon of 20 yards. And so they'll move the ball from the 10 to the 30. 3:54 on a running clock. Houston with their 4 wide. And they've moved Kyle Pitts from tight end to an outside receiver. Defense asks run. Nice call for St. Louis. Only a pickup of 1 for Mixon. That was a great call. So 2nd down and 9, 3:18 on a moving clock. So we're seeing one of the matchups here in the NFC for the wild card. There's a deep shot looking for Valdez-Scantling that falls incomplete. It's now 3rd down and 10. If we travel over to the NFC, your leaders are Cleveland. Your leaders are the New York Giants and the Montreal Alouettes. And so Oakland is going to take on the Los Angeles Rams in a wild card matchup. And the New Orleans Voodoo will play the Carolina Panthers. Both of them are in the same division. And Los Angeles and Oakland also in the same division. And there is a big pickup there with one man in the zone. He dialed up that nice 12, and that one was for Mixon. And it was a pickup of, gosh, how many did he get on there? Let's see. I don't think he picked up all of that. I think he had a limit on his gain. I'll look at it here in just a moment. Anyway, he does have the ability to throw to him long. And dialed up another big gain, and it looks like Houston is headed for another score, already up 14-0. So a bad break there for St. Louis. But a huge play for Mixon there, who has not been able to do much on the ground, but a big pickup there that certainly is going to help Houston to an opportunity to extend this lead at 14-0. Oh, and maybe not. So there is a fumble. Now, did Houston pick it up? Yes, they did. So Mixon with another catch, but this time he coughs up the ball, but Houston is able to jump on that football. And now with 1:37 to go, the ball resting at the 6. And look at that. They're back in the 4 wide set again. Defense guesses pass, and it is incomplete. 2nd down at the 6. So now we see more of the conventional look. Full house backfield. Trey Sermon has checked into the game for the first time. That's Eric Ebron as your blocking back, along with Mixon. And it's Herbert with a run up the middle. And he doesn't get anything. So 3rd and goal, 1:22, and St. Louis called timeout. Try to preserve some clock here before the half ends. Maybe they'll get a shot at getting the ball down the field one more time to get in position for a score. Makes sense, trailing 14-0. So 3rd down. Got that 4 wide set against a 4-2-5. And there is a run up the middle. It's a pickup of 9. And a touchdown. I didn't even realize that Justin Herbert had end runs. That really surprised me. I had no clue that he could go outside. I'll have to see. Maybe he gets only 1. There are some quarterbacks. He is a bit of a running quarterback. It's kind of a surprise, actually, what he can do with his legs. But I didn't know that he had the ability to run an end run. He got the nice short gain on his card, and now Houston has extended their lead to 21-0. So 1:07 to go, and St. Louis does have 2 timeouts. And there's a must run on Hertz's card. He stopped at the 34, and let's see if they call timeout. They will not. Instead, they'll stay hurry up. They're in that 3 wide. Houston is 326. So run is automatically guessed wrong. Going to throw that one to Sanders, but it falls to the turf. I think that was a short pass to Sanders, but I didn't know that Sanders could catch a short pass. Inside run, defense guesses pass, just playing it safe. 7-yard pickup there for Sanders, and now St. Louis likely will call timeout. They do. So 30 seconds to go. Football resting at the 41. So many carries Miles has left that's unfatigued. He has 7. Here's another must run. Let's see if Hurts can make his way out of bounds. That's going to be a nice pickup, and he does. So a 16-yard gain for Hurts, and he gets out of bounds. So they preserve that timeout. 22 seconds to go, ball to 43. Need another, 10 yards or so to have any shot at a field goal. Three, 2, 6. Crossing pattern, there it is. Must run, and Hurts is going to pick up some more yards. Only this time, he is stopped just shy of getting out of bounds, so they're going to have to call timeout here. Or do they try the hurry up? No, they will call timeout. So 15 seconds to go. So from here, we're looking at a 51-yard field goal. St. Louis does not have a timeout. So if the ball is caught in the field of play, I don't know if they've got time to rush the kicker on here or not. The timing rules in this are a little wonky. Obviously, if you're going to get something, you want to go out of bounds. Maybe they consider an end run for Sanders. Or maybe Hurts. And there's a pass to Lockett. And he's able to get out of bounds, so that's going to put them... Oh, I'm sorry, it's incomplete. So 3rd down and 1. So the defender was able to... I didn't see the animation there, but apparently the defender was able to make the play. Maybe put 2 in the zone. Not sure exactly how he was able to make that play on the white die 6. I'm sorry. I'm sure that you guys followed it. I just missed that one there. So 3rd and 1 with the ball at the 8. It's a 51-yard field goal attempt from here. Sideline pass. Oh, and he's sacked. There's that man again, Robert Quinn with the play. And St. Louis will come away with nothing on that last drive. So again, they've been able to move the ball pretty consistently against Houston, but they just don't have any points to show for it. So they'll have to regroup here at the half. Down 21-0. We'll take a little bit of a break. So let's look at some of the first half stats. So here we are at 21-0. 72-yard touchdown pass on the first drive of the game. Gave Houston a 6-0 lead. They had a 2-point conversion again to A.J. Green. And that was followed up by a 34-yard long pass to Valdez-Scantling. They did not convert the 2 points. 2-point conversion, they did not convert. And so that made it 14-0 and 21-0 on a 6-yard end run from Justin Herbert. So missed field goals have been the name of the game. St. Louis, unfortunately, has missed a field goal, and they've been unable to convert on 2 4th downs at midfield. So, again, they've been able to move the ball pretty consistently. Actually, I thought that would be true. St. Louis actually has 11 first downs compared to 7 first downs for Houston. And even time of possession, which a lot of people don't believe in. St. Louis had the ball for more than 18 minutes, and Houston had it for only 12. But when Houston has had the ball, they've had several explosive plays. And I wanted to find that pass to Mixon. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. So there's your ball game right there. The missed 2 4th down conversions missed, and a missed field goal, and 3 explosive plays from Justin Herbert. Joe Mixon with a 52-yard pass reception, a 72-yard touchdown pass, and a 34-yard touchdown pass. And the Mixon 52-yard pass led to the most recent score, the end run for Herbert. And it looks like we're going to get underway here for the second half. So St. Louis definitely has their work cut out for them here. But this is an 11-win club, so let's see what they can do. Now, it's been a year since I have broadcast a game, and I get the feeling that we will see some of these. It's been a long time since I've done this, and this is the kickoff crash bug. So I have to, oh no, maybe not. Hey, it just magically sprang to life. How about that? Well, I'll believe it when I see it, but let's see. Well, maybe it did crash. I'll tell you what, we're just going to jump right back into it. Let's go out of it and jump right back in. Now, usually animation just freezes and it stays basically wherever the kickoff ended. But for just a moment, I was fooled into thinking it was coming back. Well, sorry for the delay. Oh, they've thrown a new number. That's why. Okay. I couldn't remember if the crash just happens for spectators or if it happens for all of us. And I guess the answer is for all of us because they had to shoot a new number out. Let's unclutter the screen here just a little bit. All right, Dale has 30 minutes to find the end zone 3 times or more and try to keep Houston and their hot offense, trying to slow them down, but that's kind of a tall order here. There's a screen to Sanders. That is incomplete. Jalen Hurts so far in this game is 9 of 16 for 62 yards. He's done most of his damage on the ground, on must runs, on passes. Second down from the 27. So the winner of this game is going to play the winner of Shreveport and the champion of Autumn Wind last year, Philadelphia. Pass was guessed right, but he found that 14 on Jalen Hurts' card. Excuse me, a 12. So this is not a great situation when you have a 3rd and 8, 9, 10, and you have to rely on this short pass card. If the team successfully double teams, you're going to be in real trouble. And he only has conversions on 2, 3, and 10. And aside from Lockett, there really aren't very many options that you can rely on to catch the ball. There's an end run for Hurts, and that's a pickup of 16. So Hurts now with 9 carries for 58 yards. He has 4 more end runs left. And I believe Sanders has 7 more unfatigued carries left. So there's still, a fair amount of time here. You don't just abandon the run. That's a handoff to Tony Jones, the running back / fullback. It's only a pickup of 1. So actually, Tony Jones is a halfback / fullback. Okay. Miles Sanders with that second carry, and he dials up the dreaded 5. So now we're at 3rd and 8, and we're in that situation now where Jalen Hurts is going to have a difficult time converting this. Let's see how Houston plays it. And it is intercepted on Hurts' card. Not much of a run back there, but St. Louis's first drive of the second half in their comeback attempt is foiled by their 3rd turnover of the game. This one, the more conventional style, an interception, and Houston will take over at their 34. They're still going with that 4 wide set. And now we see, I think we saw Trey Sermon a little bit earlier in the game. There's an off-tackle run for Trey Sermon. And he is a limited carry running back who basically would have gotten his per carry average on that run. But because he hit a 3, he gets the benefit of all 13 yards. So a nice break there for Houston, like they needed more of them. And that'll move the chains. 1st and 10, ball at the 47 on another off-tackle run. And that's a pickup of 14. Well, somebody will watch this video later on and correct me, but I thought we had a rule that limited carry running backs could only get yards beyond. Oh, you know what? I think that's right. I think that's I thought your longest gain could only be your per carry average. There's a deep shot, incomplete pass. Well, I'll have to look that up later. We play in so many leagues, and all the leagues have different rules. But I thought that limited carry running backs, and Sermon definitely is one of them, could not have such a gain. That basically he was limited to his per carry average. But that's 2 carries in a row where he had a white die 2 and a white die 3 in which he picked up double-digit runs. I have to refresh my memory of our charter. Regardless, there is another run up the middle. And another first down. That was Carter. I'm assuming that to be the Jets running back, who that's his first carry of the game. There's a deep pass incomplete. It's now 3rd and 7. One of our fine friends sent me a message here. Running back containment, low usage running back containment. Rushing attempts per team. Well, I have to read that here in just a moment. I'll take a look at it here in just a second. Hey, thank you, Anthony, for sending that. I'll take a look at it here momentarily. So many different nuances in each one of these leagues. I guess I just didn't remember the rule on that one. So after that incomplete pass, Houston is looking to extend this lead to 24-0 if they can convert here. And Nick Folk does so. So just about the midway point here in the 3rd quarter, and St. Louis is still down 3 scores. Only they got to tack on 2-point conversions with all 3 of them. Definitely an uphill climb, but it starts here with this drive. They have to play about a near perfect game offensively and catch some breaks along the way. There's a nice play up the middle to Mercedes Lewis. And that'll move the chains to the 36. Three wide set for St. Louis, trailing 24-0 here. Just under 7 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Moving clock. Oh, and there's a sack. So that's the 3rd sack of the game. Third sack of the game for the Texans. It's a big loss of 6. So 2nd and 16. So now you're forcing Hurts to throw downfield, which he's not good at that to begin with. And there you go, guessed right, incomplete. And he doesn't have a cadre of receivers that can help him out a great deal. But St. Louis certainly has a great nucleus there in Hurts and Sanders. They're going to be a rough team moving forward, that's for sure. Last year did not make the playoffs. This year, 11 wins. Houston also, I don't believe they made the playoffs last year either. I think they were close. I think they finished with maybe a 500 record or somewhere pretty close. There's an off-tackle run. It picks up 12. That's a nice call. You're going to get something. And I think that St. Louis has no choice here but to go for it on 4th and 4. So they've already missed out on 2 4th down conversions. This one's going to be even more difficult at 4th and 4, especially with a quarterback that does not have a great flat pass card. Maybe we'll see a run here from Wilson. Oh, gosh, a short pass attempt, and just about the only time that they've been able to stop Jalen Hurts on the must run, and he dials up a 10. So he's not able to convert. 2 through 6 would have gotten him the first down, but Houston's going to take over with a short field here. Ball at the 42-yard line. There's a run up the middle, picks up 3. Again, that's Trey Sermon. White die 1 there, and he still winds up picking up 3 yards. Here's an interesting limited usage card. Guessed wrong. That's going to get some yards. So Herbert finds AJ Green, who now has 82 yards on the day. I just received an email from Dennis. I'll look at that at the end. I want to make sure that I get that right. Just so many leagues, so many different rules, but I think I need to catch up with the low usage rule. And there's another big gainer, and Houston is going to extend their lead to 30-0 as Justin Herbert finds Kyle Pitts. That was his second catch of the day, and with that extra point, the lead now moves to 31-0. So 2:42 to go here in the third quarter. Hurts looking for somebody, anybody. Didn't dial up that must run. Incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10. Looking for Freddie Swain. So a terrific run for St. Louis, who again last year did not make the playoffs and certainly is in rebuild mode, but may have even surprised themselves this year with an 11-win season. And certainly a team on the rise. They've got a great nucleus of players here, and I'd have to imagine this club is only going to improve. So this is going to be a team definitely to look out that could be challenging for the title, but unfortunately for Dale, it's just not his day. 14-yard pass there from Hurts to Tyler Lockett. That's only his second catch. So Houston is able to hold that main target in check. Next year, maybe in this offseason, a draft, or you find some trades to get some better weapons there, some better receivers. Certainly Hurts' card next year isn't going to be nearly as suspect when it comes to throwing short passes and maybe deep. I mean, he's got 2 terrific deep targets this year in Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard as well. So I'd have to imagine his card is going to be terrific next year. So we'll see how St. Louis attacks it. Do they continue to draft, or maybe they just choose some of those draft choices and just go for it? Well, they've had 3 chunk plays in a row here as Hurts finds Freddie Swain. Hurts now is 14 of 26 for 135 yards. As St. Louis is looking to tally their first score. They've been shut out here in the first 3 quarters, but things are looking very good on this drive. There's a run that doesn't go anywhere. It's 2nd down and 10. That was Jeff Wilson on the carry. Looking for Lee Smith, and Hurts is going to do it himself. Says, I got this. He takes it himself and scores. That's 87 yards rushing for Jalen Hurts. So they're just going to go ahead and put this one through the pipes and cut this lead to 31-7. So the shutout is over. Still a ton of work to do here with 13 minutes to go. Let's see if St. Louis can catch a break here, maybe a turnover or something like that can. Oh, they almost had a break, actually. Before Houston's third score, Mixon caught his second pass and fumbled the ball at the 6, but Houston was able to recover. Had St. Louis picked that one up, that score wouldn't have been 21-0 heading into the half, very likely. But they've been playing from behind, obviously, being shut out in 3 quarters. They've been playing from behind since early in the first quarter. In fact, very early in the first quarter, A.J. Green on a 72-yard touchdown pass with 13:30, at the 13:30 mark of the first quarter. So far it's been all Houston. There's a run up the middle again for Sermon, who is having a monster day now. That's 7 carries for 59 yards for Trey Sermon, who was the last year San Francisco with the 49ers. I didn't make the club this year. I think he bounced around, was on practice squads this season. I don't think Houston drafted him as a long-term player. I think they just needed a backup running back with actually a pretty decent card, especially guessed right. So 11:42 to go. 2nd down and 8. The ball resting at the 50-yard line. Here's a screen pass to Joe Mixon. It's guessed right, but he still is able to haul it in and pick up 5. So now it's 3rd down and 3. With 11 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter, it's all Houston. 31-7. Off tackle run to Sermon. Defense guesses pass. And Sermon picks up another 9 yards. So that's 9 carries for 70 yards now for the reserve running back, who at this point probably has outgained Joe Mixon. And he has. Mixon has 12 carries for 43 yards, and Sermon 9 carries for 70 yards. Off tackle run, defense guesses run. Nothing there. What was at the 36? So they're might be just on the cusp of field goal range. 24-point league. Houston just trying to run out this clock and not turn the ball over. Another off-tackle run. Defense guesses pass. And again, a huge run for that's all. This time it's Joe Mixon. Oh, well, thank goodness. I thought that was another run for Sermon. So that'll give him 68 for the day. Everything is coming up roses now for the Texans. And there's another run up the middle. This time, Joe Mixon scores. And that will extend this lead to 37-7, pending this extra point, which is blocked. And that's pretty much the end of that. So 37-7. And we may have just had a game collapse. I think it did. It did. So the game just imploded on us. Let's see if they'll send us another number here, and we'll jump right back into it and cover these last few minutes of this wild card game. So the Houston Texans are going to advance, and they will be watching with keen interest as the Eagles take on Shreveport this week. If the Eagles win, Houston goes on the road. If Shreveport wins, Houston will host another playoff game. Huh, so it wasn't their game that exploded. It was my game. It was my screen that took off. So 6 minutes to go here for St. Louis. There's another run for Wilson. So Dale, congratulations. Just didn't catch a lot of breaks today, and those fourth down conversions obviously were killers, but I think there's a lot of teams who are looking at your roster and are very, very envious to think of the potential that this club is going to have moving forward for the coming seasons. I think this is not going to be the last we're going to hear from the St. Louis Cardinals, no doubt. Houston is going to live to fight another day. They are 11-5, and with this win, they will go 12-5. And St. Louis's season today will end at 11-6. So 5 minutes to go in this game, 37-7, St. Louis driving. Off tackle run, that's a pickup of 8. It's now 3rd and 2. Another off tackle run, that's a first down. So we'll see if St. Louis just continues to run out this clock, because they're all going to be guessed wrong pretty much at this point, I would think. It's a crossing pattern pass, incomplete pass. 3:18 to go. So we'll be watching the Strat fan board. I don't believe that any other games have been scheduled. And there's a run for Jalen Hurts. I think with that carry, he did. He went over 100 yards. That's 105 yards on 13 carries for Hurts with 2:42 to go. Off tackle run to Sanders. Defense guesses run. .206 to play. Looking for Mercedes Lewis. Actually, Hurts is sacked. There was a fumble chance there, but he holds on to the ball. It's now 3rd and goal from the 14 as he's hit the 2-minute warning. Three wide set, 3-3-5. Defense calling blitz here. Let's see if they actually bring anybody. Yep, they're bringing plenty of people, actually. And Hurts is sacked. He fumbles it, and Houston's going to take over, so this is pretty much going to end this game. Let's see, 3 kneel downs, and this game is going to end, and that'll be your final score. So Houston, with a strong performance, scoring points in every quarter, continuing their dominant performance this year offensively, one of the strongest in Autumn Wind. Today, they're also able to hold their opponent down to 7 points, but some bad breaks for the Cardinals, an interception, a missed field goal, and 2 unsuccessful 4th down conversions pretty much was their Waterloo. But St. Louis has a very bright future ahead, most certainly. But today, the day belonged to the Houston Texans. And again, they're going to move on here in the NFC and take on the winner of the Philadelphia Eagles Shreveport Steamer Wildcard matchup. We'll take a look at some of the statistics here. So we already talked about the 21 points in the first half, including long passes there to A.J. Green of 72 yards and Valdez Scandling for 34. Another 50-plus yard pass to Joe Mixon led to the 3rd score there just before the half. Justin Herbert's 6-yard run. After that, Folk 41-yard field goal made it 24-0. Kyle Pitts 15-yard reception, the third touchdown pass for Justin Herbert, made it 31-0. Hurts on an 11-yard run gave St. Louis their first score to make it 31-7. And Mixon added a touchdown late, missed extra point, 37-7. So again, St. Louis was able to move the ball very effectively against Houston, 24 first downs compared to 17 for the Texans. And again, 60% of the percentage of 60% of the time of possession, 36 minutes there to 24 minutes. So they had the ball for 12 more minutes. But again, the turnovers that won't show up in the box score, the two missed conversions on fourth down. They also had a fumble. It was academic at that point. The fumble didn't really matter, but the interception was on their first possession, I believe, of their comeback attempt there in the third quarter. They had the ball first, and after that interception, Houston put a field goal through, and that made it 24-0. Jalen Hurts, 15 for 29 for 157 yards, no touchdowns, and one interception. A brilliant game for Justin Herbert, certainly efficient. 11 for 18, 3 touchdowns, 3 long passes that truly made the difference. One to Valdez-Scantling, one to A.J. Green, and one to Joe Mixon. Hurts, the only rusher who picked up 100 yards. He had 105. Sanders with 70, and Jeff Wilson also with 72. So look at that, 200 and close to 250 yards of rushing offense. Wow, this is like a game straight out of the 50s. Joe Mixon with 79 yards, and Trey Sermon, the reserve running back, with 70 yards. And there's your weapons. Joe Mixon, 3 catches for 66 yards. A.J. Green, 2 for 82. Valdez-Scantling, 2 for 41. Valdez-Scantling and Green with touchdown receptions. Also Kyle Pitts. Leading receiver, Lee Smith, tight end, with 17 yards per reception. That's not bad. 3 catches for 53 yards. I believe Quinn had 2 sacks. He did. Quinn had 2 sacks. Malcolm Kuntz with 2 sacks, and then a 5th sack there for Trey Reeder. So I think that's probably going to wrap things up. I'll look in the studio and see if anybody else is there. And we do. Congratulations, Nathan.
Thank you. Thanks for calling the game, too.
No problem. No problem. So everybody and their brother knows that you've got a dominating offense here. I mean, one of the strongest, but you know, the idea of holding a club down to 7 points, that's awfully impressive as well. But having said that, he didn't catch a lot of breaks, especially on those fourth down conversions.
Yeah, and he had a lot of bad run readings. Seemed like he wanted to run the ball a lot more this game than at least to start, but it got out of hand with the score. Yeah, he doesn't have – his team's not a great matchup against my team either because his quarterback's not very good on the flats.
Yeah.
He's a downfield thrower, and that's about the only thing I can do is blitz. So
yeah, it's a team that kind of has to play from in front. It's not a club that if it goes down, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble. But I think there'd be a lot of coaches who'd be completely jealous of this club knowing the talent that he has. He's got a very good nucleus, and as I mentioned, you know, this club didn't make the playoffs last year, and coming into the season, it's like you never know what Hurts is going to be able to do. I mean, he's got to be thrilled with what that card's going to look like next year. Plus him, Sanders, Lockett. He's got a good young team. He'll be back.
Yeah, next year's a whole different story. Hurts is going to be good. I mean, Hurts' card isn't even very good this year, I don't think. I wouldn't want to have to play with it. It's a little too easy to ignore the flats, you know, and I don't think he has a strong long card, but or at least he doesn't throw long very often. So for me, that's like the perfect offense to play against, to be honest.
Something, well, obviously you didn't hear me talking, but you know, we work in so many different leagues, and God, I got different rules for each one of these. And while I was broadcasting, actually, Anthony hit me up on Slack, and Dennis sent me an email because I was confused about Trey Sermon. And I have the rules completely tangled up on limited usage backs and what their restrictions are. Do you remember offhand what those are? Because
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
low usage running back league. So they have the low usage rule in place. But once you get up by like 15 or so, I want to say, so for Sermon, he has 41 carries, which means he's between 2 and 4 carries a game.
okay.
So if the lead is 15 points or higher, he has no restrictions whatsoever in game.
Oh, I see.
I usually just use him for a lot of short runs.
Correct.
But once I had that lead and the 4 wide was a really good formation for me against his defense,
Mm-hmm.
I just was pounding it with him and it was working out because it was
So
hitting
that's
us
why,
hard.
because I'm sort of familiar with it. Maybe I just haven't had leads like that, but I was under the impression that the only time that you could get a gain that was above your per carry average is if maybe it was like a white die 3 or a white die 1 or something like that. But if you're up by 15, all the restrictions are thrown out the window then.
So if you have, it depends on how many carries you've got. Obviously, if you have 4 or more a game, doesn't matter. So 64 is the magic number in this league. And then between 32 and 63,
Mm-hmm.
if you're leading by 15 or more, or they're leading by 15 or more, either way, then you can run with no restrictions. Now, if you have a guy that's only got, let's say 20 carries to 31, between 1 and 31,
Uh-huh.
then you have to be up by 22 or more for there to be no restrictions.
I see. Okay. I just totally tangled up that rule. It's just all these different leagues have
Well, it
different
doesn't come
rules.
up very often.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can
I don't
imagine. And so
know, maybe one other time this whole year. I usually don't jump out to a lead that doesn't get scored on because people, I mean, I've got a bad defense. People can
yeah,
definitely hit shots.
is it you've been an Autumn Wind for a long time. Is it really unusual for a team with poor run and pass defense to make the playoffs, let alone win 11 games?
Um, I think this is this technically is the worst rated defense in the league, but I would rather definitely have my defense over like Dennis's, who was like 1 tick higher, I think maybe on the run
Uh-huh.
because he didn't have pass rush.
Correct. Right.
So,
I
I mean,
think Quinn for you
it's
maybe had
pretty
20.
unusual, but then again, when you score, it's kind of like in Somifa too. Last year, I played a similar, or maybe SSFA,
Uh-huh.
probably SSFA. I had offense and I had pass rush with kind of poor ratings,
Mm-hmm.
either like a 4 or 0 nose tackle, some 4s in the secondary. It's not crazy. If you can score, you can have a fighting chance in any game
Right.
with the pass rush.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. If you're a team that scores a lot of points and you're up by, a touchdown or two, you can kind of release the hounds, basically,
Well, and
instead of getting.
you're always capable. I mean, a lot of teams that want to grind it out, but even when you do that, you're still usually in a close game, and then you got to stop the other offense.
Right.
Like I think I ran it quite a bit this game. I think I've run against him in most of my games quite a few times.
Right. He
Um,
actually, as a team, rushed for 250 yards. Again, a lot of it came on those must runs from Hurts. He had 100, but Miles Sanders had 70 as well. And then his other Wilson, he had 70 as well. You don't see a team run for 250 yards. And yet,
yeah, I
he managed to
definitely
put
noticed
7
it
on.
seemed like maybe you did too during the broadcast from the beginning. It seemed like a very concerted effort to. I don't think he threw a short pass for like a couple quarters, maybe.
No, he didn't. It was all flat. Very rarely did he throw short. And I'm sure that's something he's going to address. And that the team kind of had the look of a club that, like, wow, we won 11 games this year. That's pretty impressive. That because he didn't really have a great set of. You're down with this team, and you don't have a great set of wide receivers that are going to help your club outside of Lockett. Just a lot of no names, So I'm sure of the offseason he's going to improve with that. But I'm sure there's a
Well,
lot of teams that would love
we
to have.
played the 2 games this year. It's a hard spot because like I said, his offense is it's by far probably the best on the short. I guess he could have maybe attacked me more on the bomb just because my defense is so bad. But then, the pass rush was getting there, I think, today.
Yeah, six sacks, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't have like when he throws enough flats, it keeps me from bringing everybody. So it does limit, I don't have like a fantastic matchup unless I'm bringing a bunch of guys against him.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you were up on basically the first, a minute and a half in, and then added a quick score on top of that, so you could play pretty aggressive. It seemed like down the stretch, and I mean, poor guy. I mean, I know what he was thinking, having to go for. I mean, the fourth down that he went for at your 44, I think a lot of coaches would have done that. Maybe people would have been a little suspect of the one that the next fourth down he went for just before the 50-yard line, but he probably thought, hey, this offense is crazy. I've got to convert one of these so I can try to stay with them. I don't blame him for going for either one of those. And of course,
I definitely would go for it, but I mean, in his position, there are definitely, like, no matter what you do, there are still a lot of bad things that can go wrong, even when you call a good play.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no question.
And people are going to stack up on your strengths for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he's staring right, at a poor pass defense and a poor run defense. So just about anything that he's going to want, unless you've, slid a couple of people into one of those flat pass zones and just happen to, guess correctly on that. Like I said, anything can happen, but
Barry
wouldn't go for that against the poor defense.
A lot of people taking shots. I mean, I played a game against the Jets this year. It was like a bomb fest by both of us.
Another thing I learned today, I have not played, but maybe one game in all the leagues that I've played, in which the other coach had Justin Herbert, and I didn't know he had an end run. How many does he have? Just one?
I think he might have a couple. I don't bust it out too often, though.
Yeah.
I should. It's a good
nice
call.
No one's going to call run there. 3rd and 6, right?
Third and 6, and I got a lead. It's a pretty safe play.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the D card, if you get I was hoping to have the empty zone, and I did. That's what it made sense. You might leave it, and even on the D card, you can get a lot of yards that way.
Do you play a lot of 4 wide?
This year I have, because Pitts is a killer on the flats. I don't usually use my tight end in such a blatant flat passing, but that's what opens up the bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I think is Pitts. I mean, I threw to him. He caught 132 passes.
Wow.
But Valdez-Scantling led the league in receiving. So, he's getting it. It's kind of like, how do you want to play? I mean, he in a couple of our games has definitely been on Pitts more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And, Valdez-Scantling or Mixon or whoever's got the 0 or the 4 on him tend to get more bomb looks.
Mm-hmm. Have you hit Mixon deep a lot this year?
Well, he averaged like 25 yards a catch this year. Let's just.
I didn't look at the stats before that. Really? Wow, that's killer.
But there's a lot of zeros in this set, and when you're double teaming Pitts, I mean, it's like Pitts and Scantling and Mixon. I mean, they all complement each other really well.
Mm-hmm.
Most defenses don't have enough guys in coverage to stop that in a 30-team league.
Right.
So then it's just a matter of what do they, are you able to find the right guy? Are they able to, like, he got me on several double teams in the game and shut down some drives, or,
He had average defense. I didn't know if he had.
Plus, when you play Pitts wide, you can't double him with the middle linebacker either. If I do want to throw short, so that's kind of a nice little option,
Mm-hmm. So it's the risk reward of basically. I mean, your line hardly anybody has good run block lines in this to begin with, but I mean, it's worth the risk of a white die one to spread people out like that. So,
well, it opens the flats. It against his team. I mean, he had like a 4 nose and a 0 end where I was running most of the time. So whatever I was losing, I felt like it was probably worth it, especially since he wants to blitz those zones and you have to put two guys in there just to plug it.
Mm-hmm.
So the running game it suffers, but it doesn't suffer. I mean, there's a bonus to it too, you know.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, I get it. Have you played Shreveport or Philly this year?
I played Philly. That was a really tight game, and I lost to Philly.
Okay.
Trying to remember exactly. I guess I could pull it up. Yeah, I lost 36-33.
Wow.
Although it looks like he was up 10 with 2 minutes, and I scored like a bomb to pull within 3. So
Okay.
with a minute to go.
Yeah. I limped. I got the 6th seed in the AFC, but
Saw that.
the craziest set of circumstances to get there, and I needed a bunch of teams to lose out, not the least of which was like Seattle. It was the weirdest thing. I drew this all out, and I realized that okay, if there's a log jam for 8-8, I think I'm going to get in because I have a better divisional record than Hamilton and Seattle, but I need for those guys to start losing some crazy games. And Seattle lost the game to Phoenix with like 1 second to go. And
Yeah, I saw that score.
So Seattle finishes 8-8. Now Hamilton has to lose 2 games. And one of their games was against Montreal, and that would have been a tough order, but they played them close. Montreal beat them by 4 points, and then they lost to Atlanta, who, give it up to Anthony, worst quarterback in the league. He went out there and fought every one of these games. And so Hamilton falls to Atlanta, so now they're 8-8. It's like, okay, so 2 dominoes have fallen. But then the saddest one to me is Tampa, who is in my division, and I lost to them twice. So I don't have that tiebreaker. So they can't finish 8-8. They got to finish 7-9. So now it's like, I'm not trying to root anybody out of the playoffs, but it's like, if I've got a shot here.
I'd be rooting them out.
Yeah, exactly. On the broadcast, I'll say, well, I'm not rooting anybody out. I hope everybody wins and hope everybody's happy. But inside, I'm like, come on, Oakland. Let's see what you can do. So Oakland beats them. And so now it comes down to the last game of the year, and it's that Shreveport team. And I never wanted to watch a game so bad in my life, and I know we can't watch these games, but I got that box score and got like immediately happy. And I wrote Paul and said, Paul, check my math here, but I think I've actually got the craziest tiebreaker, like literally ever. And I was excited too, because I mean, the team was terrible and it's a mediocre club. And, but in that last quarter, I had a schedule that was kind of nice. And then when I was 7-8, I played Oakland and just got every lucky break in the universe there. He fumbled 3 times in the game. And so I kind of boat raced him by 20-some points. And in my mind, I'm like, that was a good finish. I felt good at 8-8. It's like, okay, at least I finished 500, and whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen. But it's kind of like when you go golfing and you hit that one good shot toward the end, you want to get back into it because you went 3 and 4 down the stretch. And so that's actually who I'm going to play. I'll run into Tim here pretty soon.
You're playing in Oakland?
Yeah.
And he's got Dak.
Yeah.
How do you like Mahomes' card this year compared to last year?
I can't figure it out. I cannot figure out what I'm doing on this card. I dare say that if you look at Mahomes, if there was a way to look this up, to look at Mahomes in all of the other leagues, I could guarantee you that his quarterback rating is worse in mine than any place else. I can guarantee you. It's like I cannot figure this guy out at all. To me, it's kind of like what you had said. I remember you put a comment in there somewhere about, maybe trying to push for getting the dump off rule here, which of course we don't have, but it's a flat pass league. It's just nonstop picking on flat passes.
When you asked about my 4 receiver set, I mean, that's kind of part of my solution to even being able to throw it down the field, and drafting a guy like Pitts and having a guy like Mixon. You have to force scenarios where they can't double your receivers,
Mm-hmm.
with linebackers constantly because
Right.
you know, there's no punishment for no pass rush. But there is now, at least we can pass rush against the stronger off, especially with these zeros at linebacker. So if someone's sitting there doing some of the things like I like to do, where you take advantage of those zeros and the fours or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you can sack the hell out of them a little
Yeah.
more often, at least.
Well, and that's kind of where my team gets hurt in that my two outside linebackers are Josh Allen, and Bosa. And so it's like I have to play this crazy game of flood the flats, move my six to the middle, or I'm going to move a couple guys over here. It's like I'm just basically just playing a wild guessing game the whole time because they stick out like a sore thumb. And I mean, it's like people convert on third down on my team probably better than I think it was like over 40%. It's because every one of their third downs are like 3 or 4 yards because they're just like chunking me to death up and down the field. And I just feel like there's nothing I can do about it. So you got to get lucky and call some runs every once in a while. And if you can do that, you can put them in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and it just makes them just a little bit more valuable. But it's
I mean, at least
hard to play with those guys.
I
Two
know
Masters
Oakland,
pass rushers.
I know Oakland has a really good team, but at least, I mean, he's average, and he's a 4.3. I mean, he lines up a lot like what you're describing with your team. As far as if you were to spread it out,
he's got a really good front four, but I think he's got maybe a 6 at one linebacker, a 4, and then a 0. I think that's Jalen Phillips, maybe.
Well, in the nickel, he goes 4-4-4 across the line. He has a 0 linebacker, a 4 in the middle, which the 4 in the middle is the key.
Yeah.
I think, for any 4-3 defense, a 4 or 0 in the middle is really hard to overcome against 4 receiver sets. He does have a 6 corner, but everyone else is a 4. I mean, you got a shot. You got Mahomes. You got plenty of guys you can throw against.
Well, this team actually, I only got like boat raced by Shreveport. Almost every other game was. I had one crazy game where I was beating Tampa, and then he had like a mile-long interception return for 80-some yards or something like that. And then he kicked the ball off to me, and I fumbled the kickoff, and he took that in like 2 plays, and I was playing really well and then lost to him. But for the most part, I stayed tight. And of the playoff teams, I beat the Giants on my last drive. In my second game with them, I only lost by 3. And the first Oakland game, if I remember, wasn't too bad. I don't think it was that bad. And then, of course, this one, he just didn't catch a lot of breaks. And I played Carolina too. And he won on I think the last drive to win. So against playoff, that's why I said I just, just make the playoffs and let's see what happens. And maybe I get lucky with some off-tackle runs from Javonte or some line bucks and pick up some chunk plays. He had a nice year for me this year. Of course, no one's going to guess run against my team. They're always going to be thinking pass. So your running backs are going to at least get 5-6 yards a carry. It'll just be if I can stop them defensively. At the 3-quarter, Paul, I think there was only 2 teams that allowed more points than me. And suddenly in the 4th quarter, I just started pressing the right buttons and flooding the right flats and calling run at the right time and just got real lucky down the stretch. I think I only allowed like maybe 17 points in the entire 4th quarter. Or it would have been 20 plus 11. And it was 33. So it was only like 9 points a game. So I was super stoked about that. So I'm just happy to get in. Just happy to get in.
Well, you got Mahomes and you got, a reasonable team. You got some pass rush, and I'd be excited to play in the playoffs with your team.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So Tim, I'll wait for Tim to get back, but I'm sure we'll put it out there. And I asked Dennis if he would call it, or one of you guys will call it for me. Anthony said he would do it too. So we'll see. Let's see what's going to happen between Shreveport and Philadelphia. And let's see. So that's not true. I was telling people you'd take on Shreveport or Philadelphia. That's not even close to being right. That was not even right. Remotely right.
I'm playing the other guys, one of the bye weeks, which
Yeah.
they both look really tough for my team. I had looked if I won who I'd play, and it's not an awesome matchup either way.
I haven't called a game in so long. I was just like really, really rusty. This is not going to be one for the vault. Let's see. So it'd be Cleveland. No, you would take on.
It depends on if the 6 seed wins, I play New Orleans. Is it New Orleans?
Yes, that's right.
And if the 3 seed wins, then I play Cleveland.
Yeah,
Which is interesting.
it is.
You've
Isn't
got
it?
Burrow, I've got Herbert. We had the 1 and 2 offense. He had the most touchdowns. I had second most, and he had the most picks. I had second most. Our quarterbacks have done really well.
And was I wrong? I think he's out of town.
Who's that?
The coach for Carpenter, Ed.
For Cleveland?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to Vegas this weekend, so it's kind of a longer trip. I'm going to watch Super Bowl down there.
Yeah, he sent me an email to make sure that I would, or somebody would put this game on. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, of course they will. But I thought I read something in there that indicated he wasn't going to be in town, and he's got another Autumn Wind coach to take over his team for a while because he's going on a cruise.
Yeah.
So there's you some intel. And that coach is Dennis Crowley.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends on who you're playing, and it doesn't really matter. Probably, I mean, it matters the coach, but as far as my the matchup, if I play Cleveland's probably got the better team overall, I think, because I believe Burrow's probably better than Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really look at these teams too much. I was just looking at sort of St. Louis for the most part.
Did you play Green Bay this year?
Yeah, I think I did.
Did you? Did you beat him? You remember?
I'm pretty sure I did. I think he had a really bad defense, right?
He did. But
you know what? I think I might have coached a temporary, or what do you call it, sub game.
Yeah.
Against him. Let me look. Oh, I did play. I played him, and then I won 34-24.
Okay. That was maybe the worst loss I took all year. Or at least I thought. That the team is not too awful bad. I mean, they're bad, but they're not like too awful bad. But when they made the announcement that there's going to be a bunch of random coaches basically volunteer, so I was like, please don't be Dennis, please don't be Dennis, please don't be Dennis, please don't be Dennis, and it's right there, and it's like, you know what? Brutus Beefcake has hurt his hand, so he's going to have to sit out, and now you're going to have to fight Andre the Giant. It's like that. This is the opponent that I drew, and
I played Dennis when he was Green Bay, but when I was subbing for New England.
Oh, no kidding! That's that's right. New England had to stop because they were having connectivity problems. Yeah,
and I was hitting some big plays against him in that one. I got 34 in that game. Also, that Green Bay defense, I'm pretty sure is pretty. I think it's one of the worst ones. Or at least I liked the matchups. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I think he does have maybe an asterisk.
Oh yeah, he's average, very poor. So he's as bad of a pass defense as you'll face.
Yep. And Mahomes
probably doesn't have the pass rush.
If I recall, Mahomes had a really bad game, turned the ball over. And plus, he just basically dinked and doinked and basically hit flats here and runs there. And I just could not get the ball away from him at all. And when I lost that one, I'm like, well, this season's in the crapper. This team is mediocre again. I've just basically managed to get a team, and I'm coaching them into 500sville. So, and it did. But I'm just glad to have another shot here at the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see. It's just good to be in there. Either that or I'm going to get the 17th pick in the draft. So
sometimes it's hard to know if it's your offense or if it's your defense. Sometimes it's, some games it's one, sometimes it's the other. Like in Somiva this year, I struggled. I made a run at the end, but I was giving up. I'd score 40 and lose. It was rough. And I'm like, is it my D? Because I've been playing this way. Sometimes we're rolling lucky before, or you're not rolling good now. It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Are you making a run in SSFA?
I think so. I have my first round draft pick next year, and then I've got like an 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that's usually a sign that
that's usually a sign. That's right. Yeah, this is the most. I've not made for whatever reason I've sleptwalked through SSFA. That was the first league I was ever in. I think I joined maybe 6-7 years ago, and I just for whatever reason just don't pay a lot of attention to this league. And this year I decided to really start to make some trades and go for it. And I have more picks than you do, but I did make a pretty fair amount of trades. I'm looking forward to seeing Dak together with Miles Sanders. The only thing I don't have is like a real game breaker on the outside as a receiver, but I got a good secondary. It's all full of fives. Picked up Darius Leonard too. My D line is all 6s and 5s. And
Cleveland.
Yeah.
How's Devontae Booker's card? I can't recall. It's probably pretty good.
Devontae Booker's card, it's not bad. I have him in Autumn Wind, but I don't have him in SSFA. But yeah, I mean,
that's where I'm looking right now. You got Devontae Booker as your second guy.
Who are you talking about now?
You're the Browns and SSFA,
Oh,
right?
Devontae Booker. Do you know who I was thinking? I'm sorry. I was thinking Javonte Williams.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yes, he does have I think Ed's got that card. Of course, he doesn't have the card rankings there, but if I remember from Somifa that it was, maybe 22, 23. So it's a nice backup card.
Well, sometimes those rankings, like you get a guy that has a good off tackle and they rank him higher than someone who would dominate them in the other zones too. So it's kind of like,
It's relative. You get like Javonte Williams has a nice off tackle card there. He's probably top 15 in those rankings, but it kind of hamstrings you because he can only run between the tackles. He's useless on an end run. But you get the benefit of every once in a while you're going to roll into something that's going to get you a 20, 30, 40-yard play. Whereas like a Jared Patterson card, I like that card. I've had that in multiple leagues. And yeah, he kind of reminds me of Trey Sermon's card, basically, where you don't have those short gains, but you've got like 10s, 11s, 12s on there too. And if it's guessed wrong around the end, it's 75% that you're going to get a 5-yard gain. And if it's off tackle, it's 62% that you're going to get 5. But you're going to get some yards with this guy. I kind of like those guys like that. So I got 3 of them basically. So I can run the ball. Like I said, the only thing I don't have is a game breaker on the outside. I've got Osborne, who's a 5 deep, but he's going to sit on the bench. I'm just going to move the ball slowly down the field.
You're talking about this league, right? You've got Osborne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got him in Autumn Wind, and I got him in SSFA as well. So he'll be my 3rd receiver. No, I think that, and I've made some improvements to the line too. On top, the line looks good. So this is the best ever club that I've had in SSFA.
Best ever. Because you got Dak, right?
Mm-hmm. But I filled in all the holes, basically. There's only 2 4s on defense. They're all 5s and 6s. The 4s are in. But that's the one thing I couldn't upgrade. I wanted to, and I even thought about maybe
switching. Are you going to put Leonard on? Are you putting Darius Leonard on the left or right?
Probably
I need
right.
to know so I know what offense to play. It'll be posted eventually anyway.
Oh yeah, it'll be right. I'll put Barrett at the left. I know that. I remember one SSFA championship that you won. I remember the summer night. It was just a big gab fest at the end of it, and you had changed your mind about putting your rusher basically on the running back, and said that you'd had a nice conversation with Ed about putting your pass rusher in that right zone instead of the left, and said that had made a difference. I
don't think I had a conversation with Ed. I think I suggested once in a blocking back discussion that I know you wanted to ban blocking backs that were, in your opinion, not blocking backs.
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere.
Like when you talk about how it's such a struggle with Mahomes and what you need a blocking back. I went and traded a better tight end card to get that blocking back just to throw to him. And I'm not talking like throwing bombs. I'm talking about being able to throw a short pass to a guy that they have to double team with a free safety instead of a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in a league that doesn't have dump offs or, anything like that, then you want to be able to throw to your running backs. You want to be able to throw to your blocking back. And if you can get a guy that they have to double with a free safety. Every guy you have that has to be doubled with a free safety is a guy you want, basically.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts has to be doubled with a free safety. I can put him at tight end. I can put him at receiver. And he's a nightmare on the flats. His card is huge. I mean, he's great.
Hmm.
And that's what's been able, why I've been able to do so much with Mixon, with Scantling. I mean, Scantling's card's not crazy, but he's led the league 2 years in a row in receiving, and
Correct.
was like 70 yards off the lead 1 year before that.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it work.
Yeah.
But you got to have other options,
Yeah. What did you give up for Scandling? You didn't draft him, did you?
No, I traded for him. I think Mark wanted to trade me. It was like a possession receiver. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, like, I think I was like, yeah, it's not unfair or anything. He's not my type of receiver.
Yeah.
And then he made me an offer for Scantling. And at the time he was really up in the air whether he would even do anything in Green Bay. Like, it looked like he had some talent, but wasn't even sure that he'd play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I traded like a fourth and a sixth and a player.
Yeah.
To get him, but he was the perfect, downfield, like, for what I was going to use him for.
Is he max deep?
If he's not, he's usually like a 5. Sometimes he's a 6, and it's just the gains on his card when he catches it. It's short and long. It's got big gains usually.
He's got a fair amount of long gains on there.
Because you're going to get a lot of your stuff from when the guy's open, or if there's 0 minute zone or whatever. But then when it goes to the receiver card, there may only be like 12 hits or whatever it is, but you want half of them or more to be those long gains or a bigger play. It's like a 30-yard catch. It's like, well, I mean, I could have thrown my running back,
Yeah. Well, I'm intrigued. I watched this game. I love to watch these games on tape and just see how different people coach. But I mean, that's good work with the 4 wide. My SSFA team actually could work that way. I can go 4 wide because I do have one guy that can go deep, and that's Osborne. He's a 5, and the rest of those guys are possession receivers. My line isn't bad. I mean, it would basically drop them down to from 5s and 6s down to 4s and 5s. But I could definitely see doing that.
Is your tight end good on the flats?
Everett is, from a yardage perspective, no, he's not. He can catch the ball. I think he's like a 5 flat, but it's not like he's going to get a lot of yards there.
Because there's nothing wrong with having a tight end, and if you're using them on the flats, and that's when you're spreading them out, you're going to be throwing a lot of flat passes. I mean, it's somewhat of a disadvantage to throw short when you've got 3 or 4 receivers, because you're automatically facing a worse defensive card.
Right.
But when you're pounding them on the flats, especially when they have zeros everywhere, I mean, there aren't very many good nickelbacks this year. There aren't very many outside linebackers that are good this year. I did put a post up about that it looked like a 3 receiver, 4 receiver type of card set to me, as far as what could be effective. And you've got some quarterbacks that have some pretty good palm cards.
Okay. Well, that's something to think about. I don't know. It takes me a little while when you get a team. I'm sure that you guys with more experience can play in like a couple of games in, if not from the first game, right from the get-go.
Oh, I definitely run into teams that I have where I don't know what the hell, like, I can't quite figure it out. I mean, it happens,
Yeah.
But I'm usually looking to build my team around specifically what I would like to do. So
yes,
it's usually an issue.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But like, let's say Battle Royale, sometimes I end up with a team in there where I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's kind of nice, though. I think that kind of balances things out. It's tough to get exactly what you want in a situation like that, like Battle Royale.
Well, I know what I like and what I don't like as far as how I want to play offense and defense. So then it becomes, well, what would I do against this? Or what if they do this or that? You literally need. That's why I went to Dennis before the season last year in SSFA and said, I'll give you Jared Cook for Eric Ebron. And those cards are not similar.
No.
Ebron is way worse.
Right.
But he was a 5 blocker at a blocking back.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I didn't want to be throwing short passes to Jared Cook to try to take heat off other guys and have him doubled by linebackers constantly when I could throw to Ebron. And Ebron led my team in receptions.
Yep.
And it was a good solution. It's like when I look at Mahomes' numbers in this league, it looks like you're probably getting the hell doubled out of, if I had to guess.
You're getting what now?
Getting double teamed constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that Russell Gage has ever gotten this much attention in his life.
I mean, your completion percentage is really low, and yet you don't have some big yards per attempt.
Isn't that weird? That's true. You see right through it, and it's not like I'm trying to throw a lot of flat passes here or anything. I think every once in a while, just out of necessity, just so I can get my mind straight, I'll throw some flat passes. I mean, like Javonte Williams, to me, that's way too many catches. He shouldn't have nearly that many catches, and yet by default, I start throwing to him because
he's not getting doubled.
Yeah, exactly. I did play toward the end of the year, did start playing more 3-wide and found that to be actually pretty, it started to work for me. Maybe it was just a fluke, but I kind of like that, stretching out the field just a little bit. So I don't know. This is still you as a person who's been doing this for a long time, you can see these things, and it's still, even after 7 years, it's still taking me a while to catch on with, you'd be better off if you did this. You'd be better off if you got this person here to help. It's like, I'm not putting the puzzle together like I should.
Well, in the game too, it's, sometimes you don't realize you've only ran it 7 times or something, and it's late in the game. It's like, what am I doing? You could write down like formations that you think are good for downs and distances, if basically you don't want to get, like, maybe it's 2nd and 6, maybe that's when you want to be in your, I mean, I don't know what your situation is, but maybe that's when you want to be in your 2 tight end, because now the short pass is more of an option. Everything's an option, and that's in your base offense, that's probably your best, offense to run when everything's an option. But when it's like first and 10 in there, or let's say 2nd and 10, maybe you want to be in a 3 receiver set at that point where you can run inside. Definitely not going to be guessed right against probably like a weak inside with no one in zone.
Right.
You can throw flat without having zones flooded. You won't be able to throw short as much as the downside, but you can also take shots against, weaker defenders if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on I'm not saying that that's like the game plan. I'm just off the top of my head, like, you probably notice I switch formations a lot in a game, unless they're showing me something I really like. I'll do it. Then I'll just, I've had games where I run 4 receivers with this team and they stay in their base 4-3, and I'll set a record with Kyle Pitts. I'll throw to him 50 times in a row. I don't care. Really, I mean, if you've got a 4 or 0 middle backer and you're going to let me throw to Kyle Pitts, in that scenario, I will do it like 40 times in a row. Because there's nothing you can do. You're not even letting yourself double team. It's a matter of what you feel comfortable against. Sometimes I run through a bunch of formations just to see how they'll play them.
Right.
And then however you want to play it, then that's how you can attack it.
Do you think you'll be able to fix this team, Autumn Wind, defensively?
I don't know. I mean, there's room for improvement for sure.
Yeah. Have you drafted, or do you have people coming up that are going to? Let me look at your roster.
Well, the last defensive player I drafted was Julian Blackmon in the 1st round at the end of the round, and he went out and got injured. I haven't heard from him since, so that's not a good start. I drafted Christian Barmore in the 2nd round. He hasn't done a whole lot, but I don't mind having him. I think long term he'll do something.
Oh God! Wow.
I mean, honestly, if you have an offense, you can make your defense with a couple pieces. You don't have to break the bank. If I get a couple 5s at corner, or a 6 at safety, one or the other, I feel like I could defend myself a lot better.
Oh yeah. I'm just looking at him now. Wow. Good grief. I mean, you have no corners. You have all defensive. You have no corners. That's amazing. That's amazing. But the one thing that doesn't show up in your cards is your pass rush.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Which is why I said I would take my defense over Dennis's, for instance,
yeah,
even though he's a notch better on the ratings. Pass rush doesn't show up. It's kind of like if I told you, hey, you've got sixes all along your offensive line, you'd be pumped. But then I was like, well, they're all zero pass blockers. And then you wouldn't be so excited,
right.
It matters. So
Totally. There's multiple ways to get this done. Because I know when Tom used to call these games, he things about this league he liked, things about the league he didn't like. Obviously, the dump off he didn't like, but he had teams that would build these mega defenses, very good, excellent against the pass, and there's room for that, but you can have an average. Obviously, you can have an average or below average defense as long as you've got pass rush. That makes a difference. But you have to have an offense that forces them into situations where your pass rush is going to matter too.
That's the thing, is you're definitely playing with fire, because you're going to run into a team that has balance and won't let you do what you want to do on defense.
Right.
And then if you're not able to score quickly on offense, then you're really in trouble.
Right. But there's a lot of things you can do on the pass that you can't do to stop a run. I mean, you got a 0. Well, guess what? Your linebacker buddy here just turned him into a very good pass defender because now you got a double. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do with it's not ideal, but you can force that other coach, in my estimation. That's what I'm saying. I've played defenses with poor pass defense, but you wouldn't show it.
Yeah,
because they're just hitting on the right double teams.
I think in S28, this is like my third year in a row with like a 0, at least 1-0 starting a corner, but it's been a hellacious pass rush with an offense.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing as this league. I'm gonna have some real bad games or some real struggles against certain strong teams.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're playing in a deep league, you're always going to have weaknesses on like 95% of the teams or something like that. There's going to be things you can attack.
Right. It's interesting. This game drives me nuts, but to just casually talk about it and different strategies and stuff, it really, I appreciate it, especially someone who's played for as long as you have. Just look at things. Sometimes I just in an echo chamber, basically playing my own game and figuring I'm never going to figure this thing out. But when I get back to watching playoff games again and seeing different styles and then talking with good coaches afterward, it energizes me. It makes me feel better and think about other ways to.
Well, you're going to run teams that it's just not good. It's what you're good at. They're really good at stopping what you look for in a matchup. It just isn't there, and then they have the matchups on the other side of the ball. And it's just, it's like the NFL is like that though, too. Sometimes it's a lot about matchups and sometimes it's about, well, this is what we do. So this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work out, if you're not either just dominant at it or you can't find some good weaknesses,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow. Well, I'm going to go ahead and grab something to eat here, but congratulations. And
thank you.
We're going to try to call every one of these games for sure. So yeah, I'll look for you.
Yeah, I'll try to join if I'm not working.
Oh yeah, I want you to.
I'm on vacation or something, but I'll look for you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I think it was a little early of a game for anybody to come in and join, but I'd sure like to have you and Dennis and anybody else come in here and join these.
Cool. Well, thanks again.
Congratulations, buddy.
All right. See you later.
You take care. Okay, well, that's going to wrap things up here. So congratulations to the Houston Texans. They are moving on. They are 12-5. And I had erroneously mentioned in the broadcast that we're going to have to wait to see who their opponent's going to be. For some reason, I thought it was the winner of the wild card. So I'm just going a little crazy here. It'll take me a little while to get the broadcasts back. And congratulations, Dale. You have a great club and certainly have a lot of talent and a lot to look forward to next year. But this was Houston's night. So your final score, Houston Texans 37, St. Louis Cardinals 7. This was the first of 4 wild card matchups here for the 2022 season, where this is the winner of 2023. Got 3 more wild card games to go as we crown another Autumn Wind champion. So congratulations, Houston Texans. You are moving on. And we're going to close out this broadcast. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be bringing plenty more broadcasts along the way. So everybody have a great evening. Stay safe. God bless everyone. Take care.